together. There's nothing better. It's now or never. Make it through somehow. Make it through somehow.
Hey mamas, it's Shay Bland and I am back with another episode of the Mommy Me Please podcast. And today I have with me two lovely ladies who's going to share their stories about IVF. And so I'm going to come to my left, and if you can just introduce yourself to our audience.
Hello, my name is Amanda. I am 33 and I have a beautiful baby boy.
And you?
Hello everyone, my name is Shamice and I am 32 and I have twins, a boy and a girl.
Yes, so the first question I'm going to ask you guys is, how did you know you were a good candidate for IVF? Anyone can go first.
Okay. You want me to go? Okay. Okay. So my story was a little different. I actually did the typical thing everyone would do when you get married. I was on birth control and all of that. But then after, we were trying to talk about this last night, maybe like a year and a half after that, we decided to get off birth control and just try. And so within about 2.5 years, I think it took a long time, I actually got pregnant, and then I ended up having a very dramatic pregnancy loss through a tubal pregnancy. And in that moment, it was like, okay, you can try again and possibly have the same situation, or you can try other options. And so once we kind of considered everything that we had already experienced through the process, I did a lot of praying. I did tons of research, and then we literally got the green light from God, like, let's do it, because this will be a greater opportunity for us versus trying to put myself at risk again. Yeah. So that's how we knew.
Okay, awesome.
So my story is very different. So for us, when my husband and I, we got married, we were like, we knew we wanted another child, so it was like, well, let's just start trying. So I just stopped taking the birth control, thinking, they said, it'll take a year after birth control. It takes some time, so just, stop now and then start. So I stopped, and literally that next month I got pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, but same thing with Shamice. It was a tubal pregnancy, which I didn't know much about. Very devastating, because we told everyone Christmas Day. We're like, we're expecting, and then we found out, it was, tubal. So they terminated the pregnancy and removed my tube, and then I did end up switching doctors, but she was like, you're fine, try again. I did not think it. She said, it won't happen again. It usually only happens once. So after my third tubal pregnancy, I finally got another doctor, and that's when they recommended testing my other tube, because I actually had 2 losses in the same tube, where they didn't remove the whole thing, and then one we just couldn't find. So they tested the tube, and it was completely blocked. So they were like, you can take it out or you can keep the tube. And for me, for some reason, I wanted to keep my tube. So that's my body part.
Yeah.
Which I now regret. I wish I would have, listened to their advice, because my first IVF cycle was another tubal pregnancy. It went up the other way. So I think my tubes just have baby magnets. So I was just fine with that. But, my baby has 4 guardian angels. But it was from that point they were saying IVF is the only route for us. Was the only route, just because both of my tubes were completely blocked.
Gotcha. Okay, so I know you guys, I don't know too much about this, right? So I'm gonna kind of let you guys really guide the conversation. But what is it called? What is the term?
Tubal pregnancy.
Tubal pregnancy.
Or you can call it ectopic as well.
Okay, so anyone that may go to the doctor, hear that from the doctor, or the person that may not know, kind of explain what that is.
Yeah, so my situation was a little different from how Amanda's, how she experienced hers, because she was able to still have her tube. My pregnancy actually erupted while I was at work. So I literally went from just, really excited about being pregnant, sitting at my job doing my work, and I'm literally hunched over, sick, and I can't walk. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I went to the doctor at that point. Well, actually, first I went home, and I actually started to bleed in the tub. And I was like, Corey, you to come get me, because I don't know what's going on. And when I got to the doctor, they were looking around for the pregnancy. We already knew it was a valid pregnancy as far as my blood work and stuff and the test. So they was like, well, let's go see, what's going on. And so the doctor was like, well, I don't see it. He was like, we know that your numbers were high, you were pregnant. And so he was like, well, let's look over here. And they did another check. And when they checked the second time, they was like, oh my God, the pain that you're in is because your tube has burst and you're bleeding internally, and the pregnancy was in your tube. So they were like, we have to do emergency surgery. So I literally went from that to the hospital, and I had to go through surgery to have everything removed at that time. And so once they took, the pregnancy, they took my tube, they took all of it out. And basically what happens with tubal pregnancy, like in my situation, so you get pregnant, basically your tube can be open, because I actually had a surgery to have mine open because they were blocked.
Gotcha.
So once they were open, anytime you have intercourse, if you're ovulating, you can actually get pregnant. So you get pregnant, but what happens is the embryo gets locked within the tube. And then it kind of implants there versus implanting in the uterus.
Gotcha.
So if it implants in the uterus, you grow a healthy baby and you're good. But if it implants in the tube, it can actually, it's supposed to like start there, and it's supposed to move down and travel into the uterus. But for whatever reason, it can actually stop and it gets stuck in the tube. And either yours can burst like what happened to me, or it can happen like what happened to Amanda.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I got a better understanding. I'm
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about? Okay, so now I got a better
It's
understanding.
anything outside of the uterus. And for
Yeah.
mine,
Gotcha.
like my first one, my third one ruptured.
Ooh.
But so I had it where, so this is how my doctor did it. Okay, she was like, imagine this is a uterus. Okay, she was like, your ovaries are here. Okay, and this is your tubes. This is your uterus. Okay, so my first baby got stuck in the little fingers.
Oh, phalanges.
It didn't make it past there. And then that's where I had extreme pain, and it implanted there. And I was in so much pain where I almost passed out one night. And then I just went in because I started spotting. They were like, you need to have surgery right away. So the doctor cut just enough for me to get pregnant in that tube again. But I'm thinking the second one they couldn't find, I told them my right one was removed, but they didn't even think to look over there.
Wow.
We just couldn't find it. So it can be in your tubes, but it can travel anywhere outside of the uterus. Some people have it in their abdomen. Like anything outside of the uterus is an ectopic pregnancy.
Okay.
It's just, that's where the egg grows 5 days. It travels through the tube into your uterus. And then that 5 days is key with IVF, because you get a 5-day-old egg before they implant it. But it takes 5 days. And during those 5 days, somehow it gets stuck inside your wherever it lands, it implants at the end of that 5 days.
Because like you said, even with your phalanges, a lot of times they kind of move to help move everything along.
Yeah.
But if they don't, like she said, she had one in there, and mine were just trapped at first. So it's just, it really just depends on how the body.
It can get stuck in your it can actually go in your ovary. Mine was like right outside of it, but it can get stuck in your ovary. The little fingers, they said, fuse to the ovary.
Yeah. The phalanges.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that kind of actually creates the open door to doing IVF. I mean, they have other things like IUIs and things like that. But when you go through things like that are already that traumatic, it's literally, in my opinion, it's safer to go the way that could cause less situations to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Great information. I'm all over like, what? Okay, that's really good information. So, were there any lifestyle changes you had to make during IVF? If yes, what were some of those things that you had to do differently?
So for me, I love my Thirsty Thursdays. I will have a glass of wine every Thursday. I had to shut that down. Haven't had no wine in a long time. But that was my wine down Thursdays. But other than that, I don't eat fried food because they said no fried foods. I don't really eat meat. I've never been a big meat eater. I just had to, just like when you're pregnant, it's the same deal. You just, you eat smarter, healthier, stay active. That helps. Staying active and drink lots of water. I don't drink sugary. I don't do anything sugary. So I already was kind of following that plan.
Right.
If you're overweight, they want you to be within your BMI. Just like a regular pregnancy.
Okay, so nothing like two. What about?
So for me, I think mine. I think I actually changed a number of things. Some of the same things that she just mentioned, but one thing for me is I had to change my job. I was extremely stressed at my previous job with the position that I had. So like the days I would like cry because it was just that hard. Not the work, but the people. And so during that time when I lost that first pregnancy, I was just like, okay, something is going on, because I literally went into IVF the first time and I actually lost that one too. And everything we thought about in life that was going on, the only thing that was really, really frustrating me was work. And so I literally stopped working at the job that I had. And when I say within like 2 to 3 weeks, I was pregnant with the twins.
Oh, wow.
And it was, when I say that was a major thing, we knew that was a major thing, because I lost both of them while being there. So changed the job. I walked a lot. I always loved dancing, but I actually literally walked. Like I went outside every day, walked, and I drank lots of water, and then I drank pomegranate juice every single day. Because they said it had like some things that could help with the implantation. So I just did.
He's like,
I was like, well, I'm gonna try this. Okay. But yeah, so those
What's
are
your
the things that I
major
did.
change? Like that's a lifestyle change. Change your
Yeah.
job.
Yes.
Like that's big.
Yeah.
Like,
was
I gotta go.
Something's not
This
working.
stresses me out.
It's not working. We gotta get rid of this because that was the target. And yeah, it was just like I spoke to someone and they had an opportunity for me, and I was like, okay, we're gonna take it.
That's good.
So-
That was God, really.
Yeah, it really was.
That's good.
It really was.
Well, even though I didn't have to go through IVF, some lifestyle changes. Let me see that I had to make. I would just say maybe my eating. I didn't eat a lot, and so when I did go to the doctor, they were like, you need to have this much protein every day, and that stressed me out so bad. Like I don't like to think about what I have to eat. I don't like the process of eating. I know this sounds really
I was
crazy,
like, what?
but the fact that you have to stop your day and actually eat, like it's just like annoying. So the fact that I had to like make sure I was eating, to make sure my baby was good, and then if I felt like I wasn't getting the right amount of stuff, it would like irritate me. So I think the lifestyle change I had to make was making sure I actually ate. I'm not a big drinker, like liquids, and so I had to make sure I was drinking water, a lot of water. I will go through a whole meal and not drink, and my husband's like,
I
like,
can't do that.
he's like drinking, like while he's, I'm like, what did your mom teach you? But yeah, I would eat my whole meal and then not drink, but I had to make sure, I was getting that water, getting that protein. So that was a lifestyle change.
So do you like food?
I do like
Oh,
food.
okay.
Like don't get me wrong, I like to eat, but like it's I don't know what it is.
It's
It's like the
cognitive
mental
of doing it.
Yeah, it's like the mental of having to
Yeah.
stop. Like okay, today, this morning, I knew I had to do this.
Yeah.
I have not ate because I'm so amped up. I'm ready to go, and
Gotcha.
I will be like on this high where it's like, oh snap, I haven't ate. Wedding day, same thing. I had to make sure, So, yeah.
So on your excitement days, you kind of feel like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I
like,
get
and every other day too.
Yeah.
But especially the
You're not
exciting days.
breastfeeding. I can't.
Well,
I
now,
cannot
no.
go without
That's
eating.
definitely
Yeah.
a change now. Oh, I eat. Okay.
I cannot think any past eating.
Yeah, and with
When I'm
breastfeeding, you have to drink
Yeah,
a
you
lot
have
of
to have
water.
some
water.
Or you will be,
Desert storming.
I would go down. I go through a lot of water now.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely after the baby, but during pregnancy, I had to make myself,
Right.
want
I couldn't even go without eating because I would get a headache because they were pulling so much from me.
Well, you had two babies.
Yeah, so I had to eat because I would get a headache and I would get nauseated if I didn't eat. So once I would eat, it would just make life better. And I was like, okay. Plus, I would get hangry if I don't eat.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I'm a
Pregnancy
breastfeeder.
hangry
Yeah.
is
That's
a
a
different
different
thing,
thing.
okay? Because it's like you be happy, you go to, you
put it on
irritated
it, right.
with everybody.
Yeah.
Don't look at me, don't talk to me, I just gotta eat.
Tell husband, I'm telling you, I'm gonna be hungry in about 30 minutes.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
you
you're like,
gotta
looking
stop
now.
somewhere and get
And
some food.
sometimes you don't even get that heads up. He's like, what is wrong with me?
I think my husband already knew. He was like, please, we gotta get her something to eat because like something is about to
Please
happen.
feed the pregnant
Get her
lady.
some food.
Yeah, that's so funny. All right. Was your pregnancy automatically considered high risk? So the fact that you guys, had to go through IVF, you had the previous situations. When you get IVF, to tell the other mom that may need it, is that considered high risk off the bat or no?
You can go first. I can go second. My
Yeah, no,
situation's
yours
different.
is different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, no. Only thing is, it was closely monitored in the beginning. That's how we caught the fourth tubal pregnancy before the tube ruptured. So yeah, it was just a lot of tracking in the beginning, and you just track your numbers a lot just to make sure they're rising. But outside of that, it's treated as a normal pregnancy.
Okay.
Yeah. And so for my pregnancy is a little different. One thing I will say, kind of in line with you, for the first 12 weeks, they do monitor you a lot. And we probably went to two different facilities, but for my facility, you graduate at 12 weeks, and then they send you to.
Dr.
Oh, you did?
Lucidi.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Did
you
you give me the recommendation?
Okay, so wait, I didn't know.
Dr. Lucidi is awesome.
Yes, he is. So if you gotta go through IVF, he's the best. So I did tell her
That's
about.
the cutest baby.
I did tell her about IVF and I told her about Dr. City, but I didn't know you actually went to him.
I did, yes.
So that's pretty cool. Okay, so he's like my grandpa. Like we have like a really, really close bond because when I had the emergency surgery, like he was off from work, gone home to like work on his car, and they called him to tell him that it was me, and he turned around and came back to do my surgery.
I love doctors.
So yes, he's like,
That's
no,
awesome.
I'm coming to help her. Like no way. So and he literally held my hand through the entire process. So whenever anyone talks to me about IVF, he's the first person I tell them. Because I was going to other people first, and I was like, nah, that's not it, and he was him. And so anybody who has to go that route, I always recommend Dr. Lucidi.
Yes.
So anyway, so with my situation, yeah, so at 12 weeks they graduate us or whatever, everything's good. But for me, because I had twins, they automatically considered it a high-risk pregnancy. But I was like on the low side of high risk because my twins had their own sacs and they had their own placentas. So that kind of made them like a normal pregnancy from the sense of that portion of it. But just because I had twins, they have to give you the label of high risk.
Gotcha. Okay, well that's good to know that, because me not knowing, of course, I'm thinking if you have to get IVF, then you're automatically considered high risk. But it really depends on your situation, and both of y'all's situation is very different.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Did your labor and delivery go as planned? If not, what changed?
I know a little
Who
bit.
wants to go first? You want to go first?
Listen, hand it mic to you.
I'll go. I mean, it doesn't matter.
So first of all, husband, if he sees this, he will laugh. I was so upset because I chose St. Francis because my best friend, she had her baby there, my sister. And I was like, oh, they have these awesome rooms. And she was sitting there eating ice chips. She said, yeah, the food's good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had her baby. I said, I'm having my baby here. Not only that, they did after my third loss, they did the surgery. And before they came in, they actually prayed with me.
Oh, wow.
And they actually had an actual ceremony for my baby. That was the first time they did that. And I was like, actually, I love this hospital. Like, because the nurse, she was so nice. She's like, she held my hand. She was like, it's going to be okay. God got you. I loved that about that hospital. Totally different experience from the other two. But because of COVID, they put us in this closet.
Oh my gosh.
And literally, you turn husband's bed was like right there.
Oh God.
And it was horrible. I was so upset, but I understand. It was COVID. The rooms are so big, they probably could fit like 3 people in their other room. So that was the first thing that didn't go as planned. And I wanted to have a natural delivery. I really did. And so I did labor, at home for the majority of it because it was COVID. They sent me back home when I was in labor. So that whole Saturday, I stayed at home in labor. It was hurting. And then I got really sick, really, really nauseous. I couldn't keep anything down. So then we called the nurse. She was like, if you can't keep anything down, then, you need to come in. Because at that point, I started at 2 o'clock that morning. And it was like, I guess like 11 o'clock that night. I was just like done. So husband took me back to the hospital, and then that's when they were like, okay, well, you're not progressing at all, so we're going to give you an epidural. Well, you're not progressing fast enough. So they gave me an epidural, and I just didn't progress anymore because, my baby from our 6-week scan was already measuring 8 weeks.
Yeah.
9 years old baby. So my baby came out 10 pounds. So pretty much they had to do a C-section.
Oh,
I didn't want.
wow.
Yeah, I had to have a
Good.
C-section. When he came out, he had a little cone head where he tried to fit through the birth canal because I stopped at 7 centimeters. Yeah, 7 centimeters is as far as I got. I didn't dilate anymore, and then they were like, you were lucky that he didn't fit through that birth canal because you would never use the bathroom the same way. So I was grateful for that, but at the same time, I was just like, I've already had at that point 4 procedures leading up to it, and I just didn't want any more. The 4th one was the hardest one to come back from, just because it was literally year after year. 1 year I had 2 losses, and so just recovering. Even now, I just recovering from that. I didn't want any parts of it. It made it really hard. Breastfeeding him, all of that. But yeah, it did not go as planned. I wanted a natural birth, but TJ had a big hit.
It's like, can't get this there.
He was looking out for mommy. He's like, I'm not gonna do this to you,
He
mom.
was. Thank you. Yes, that in my room was just that big.
You had to wear a mask the whole time?
Not when they did the
C-section.
C-section.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But
all
all
the
the rest of the part, I had to wear a mask.
Wow. So with me, one of the things with IVF, I prayed about everything. Like before even going onto the journey of IVF, because I was like specific, like, God, if I'm gonna do this, I really want it to work, and I really want to know that you want me to do it, because like if you don't, I just won't have children, like whatever. But once I got the green light and the peace on, going forward, one of the things I asked God, I was like, I don't want bruises on my stomach, and I don't want, all the pains and all the stuff that people talk about with IVF. So I specifically asked God that when it was time for delivery, that I could have the twins at 38 weeks. I didn't want to have them beforehand, because with twins, a lot of people have their twins early, but sometimes it could be dangerously early, 26 weeks, 21 weeks. And they'll be really small. So I was like, at least let me get to 38 weeks. And so at 38 weeks, when I went to the doctor, the twins were so big, the doctor was like, we're going to have to induce you. And I'm like, no, I didn't want to be induced. Like, I wanted a water birth, but he kind of had ruled that out, because at VCU, they didn't want me to have a water birth with twins in case of complications. So they took that plan out the door. So I was like, okay, Lord, can I just have one of the things that I asked for? I did get to 38 weeks, but I'm like, geez. So when I got to the doctor, and I wanted a natural birth too. So I did 8 hours of natural, trying to labor with naturally without medicine. And then my son, he dilated. Yeah, 5 centimeters. And I got stuck there, and I plateaued there. And so with being induced, you have to still kind of go through the whole process of waiting, but you're kind of like forcing your children to come out. So that was most of they did, because they weren't due until May 31st. I mean, May 29th, but this was like May 14th. So 48 hours later, they were like, well, Shamice, nothing's happening. He's stuck at 5, and we're going to have to give you a C-section. And I cried, because I did not want a C-section. I literally wanted to birth the twins myself. My husband was like, I felt everything that you felt, because I was literally like, no, I don't want a C-section. But they was like, you're going to have to do it, because if not, it's because they had already birthed my water or whatever. So there's like, your son, he's going to need the water and everything that he would have had. So I was like, all right, have no choice, whatever. So I had to get a C-section too.
Yeah. I think the thing about that is, so with me, I did plan to have a natural birth. I did plan to have a water birth. And like I said in the last podcast, I did have a natural birth. However, I didn't end up having her in the water, like I wanted to. I was, on the floor. But like I said, I wouldn't change anything. But I think the important thing about it, even though it doesn't go quite as planned, we can all sit here and agree that, like, we still have beautiful babies. They're still healthy. Doesn't always go as planned. And like of course we want what we want, and it's like, oh man, but at the end of the day, I think to have a healthy baby that's here is just like really important. So I would encourage any mom, when your plan doesn't go, as planned, that it's okay. Like, it's okay. It's literally okay. Like, This episode is sponsored by River City Midwifery, located in Lakeside Avenue in Richmond, Virginia. Visit their Instagram, Facebook, or their website at rivercitybirth.com and find out how you can receive a unique model of care. And tell them that Shay Bland from the Mommy Me Please podcast sent you. So, now we're going to go into our popcorn session. Okay. And so I'm going to ask each of you a question. You're going to have 1 minute to answer. Okay. And so, I'm going to go with you first. Okay. So, how do you wind down on the daily? Like, how do you wind down?
Okay, so first thing first, I put the twins in their bedroom at a certain time, pretty much every night. Well, my husband kind of helps me with that. And then once they're in their room, it's like it's all about mommy and, of course, my husband too. Mm-hmm. So I love to be able to read. I love watching, movies with my husband. I love taking long baths, lighting candles, all of the girly women like type things. And I also like to watch like dance TV shows or like dance videos and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, something about that kind of like takes my brain from mommy mode to like, oh, I'm chilling. Like this is cool. So yeah, that's what I like to do.
Okay. I would say, now I have a 4-month-old, so it's a little bit different. I don't get to actually like put her in her room and then go but not yet. But I would say how I like wind down when I do on the daily. If I get at least one YouTube video and on my phone a day, I'm like, okay. Like, this is bring, so, like, sometimes if she'll go to sleep, I'll be like, you know what, I need to go to sleep. But if I could, like, get on YouTube really quick, watch a quick video, I'm like, okay, I've did something for me
I felt
today.
like, yeah. This is a mommy
It's like,
moment.
even though, like, okay, so another thing is me, like, winding down or getting a break is me cleaning. And
Oh,
most
I like to
people,
do
like,
that too.
yeah, see, it's like, most people don't like doing this, so they're like,
Like washing dishes or something. It's kinda
yes,
like, ooh.
that's winding down for me.
Yeah.
So, like, sometimes, you know, my mother-in-law, she'll be like, no, you need to go take a nap because I got the baby. I'm like, but no, this is me winding down. Like, me cleaning the house, me washing the dishes, that relaxes me.
Yeah.
And so I'm able to do that, then I'm good.
I feel that.
Okay, your question. Kind of similar, not the same. What does a self-care day look like for you?
It's probably not healthy, but eating a cookie.
Amanda.
Just one cookie, Amanda.
I'm a fat kid. I am. Yes. No. The self-care day is baking cookies. I know this sounds so bad. I like baking is relaxing to me. So I'll bake a cake or I'll bake some lactation cookies. Okay. And eating that cookie.
Okay. No, that's good because, like, no, you know what? This is really good because we all think of, like, when I hear self-care, or like most people hear self-care, they're thinking bubble baths and massages, but it's different for everybody.
And all that
yeah.
stuff.
And like it's good, but it looks different for everybody.
Taking a shower is self-care.
Oh, it's so, like, just literally closing the door.
Break, girl. It's a break.
Going to the restroom, like I heard you say in the last one, but it's so true because my twins, now that they talk, they're mama, mama, mama. I hear mommy all day, but it's so special to me because I always wanted to be a mom. So when I hear it, I'm like, I always go to them like, yes, like I am not ignoring you because I pray to have you guys.
Yeah.
So whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But yes, like being able to close the door sometimes. My husband don't always let them like not come in there. Sometimes he just lets them come. But when I can close the door and just be like, it's like,
That's self-care. Yes. Take a shower.
Yes.
Husband has the baby. You know, I'll have bake my goods. Eat
Bake
my
my
goods.
goods.
And then I'm gonna go take a shower, and then he will keep the baby, even if he's yelling. I just turn up my music. I feel so bad doing it, but I'm like, husband got it. And they're praying for my husband. I'm like, I feel so bad right now.
They'll be good. They'll be good. I had to learn
his
that.
responsibility too.
Yeah,
so.
I had to learn that. I used to feel so bad. And granted, I still do a little bit, but I have to tell myself, you know what, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so they have to get used to it because
Yeah.
he's with me all day, every day. So of course he's gonna cry out for me, and I
Yeah.
understand that. As at the same time, you know, you have your father.
mother,
Yeah.
this is
And
your dad.
he loves to play with, like, when he wants to play, he's all dad.
Aw.
Like, Daddy, let's play. When he's ready to eat or, you know, wind down.
Necessities. He's like,
right.
Mama.
He's like, I want my mom. So
Yeah,
usually
same.
it's late and it's his wind down time, and he's
Yeah.
like, where's my mom at? But I'm like, Mom is taking a shower.
Mom is gone. Mom
Yes,
is gone.
and I'm in the bathroom eating my cookies.
That's one thing I'm thankful for my husband for though, because he literally every night, like no matter what he has to do, he literally takes the twins to their room and he prays over them and he puts them to bed. So that's like that's what kind of releases me to do what I have to do because like I know that at a certain time of night he's gonna take them up there.
It's like you're looking
Yes,
forward
like,
to like,
woo!
ooh, what time?
Especially if it's one of those long days at work and I'm like, because I multitask, I have to like work and still take care of them. So if it was one of those days, I'm like, oh, I cannot wait.
Can't
It's
wait.
at 8:30. Oh, it's gonna be movies. I'm like excited about it. So yeah.
It's kind of the same. I know before I started working, it's a little different now. I just started working last Monday. So I've been working for a week, but before then, JR would take Aubrey every morning. So if she woke up, you know, for me, because I'm waking up all night, you know, to
Yeah.
feed her, and she's right under me. So sometimes, you know, she'll like get up for a snack, but it still wakes me up. Every little sound I hear, I wake up. And so he takes her in the morning, and it's kind of like I get an hour or two just to sleep, toss and turn, you know.
Just put my arm wherever I want to.
You
Stick my leg out,
just
just
rolling over. Yes.
Yeah, so definitely support system is really big
I
for
agree.
me, and I
agree.
love it, love it, love it. All right, so that is all for this episode. I thank Amanda and Shamice for coming by and sharing their stories and encouraging, you know, other moms if you know, have to do IVF, like it's okay. You'll get through it. It's, you know, some things, you know, we have to do. And again, those plans that we have, like if your pregnancy doesn't go, you know, as planned, you have to take a second route that, you know, it's okay. We all three here have healthy babies. And so,
Strong baby.
yes, strong, big babies. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys on my next podcast. Bye.
Together, there's nothing better.